Tonight, the Israeli military surrounding and inside the largest hospital in Gaza, caught in a war zone. IDF troops entering Al-Shifa Hospital, releasing new video from inside, claiming to find knives, AK-47s, and grenades, saying it's proof that Hamas is using hospitals as cover. Hamas denying the claims, releasing video of hallways filled with smoke, people only able to get through using flashlights, a UN leader condemning the operation, and the Israeli Prime Minister standing by it. What we know about the fast-developing news from inside the largest medical center in Gaza. Biden meets Xi, leaders of the two largest superpowers in the world face-to-face for the first time in a year. Presidents Joe Biden and Xi Jinping shaking hands in San Francisco. What happened behind closed doors, and did Biden get anything out of it? Manchin one-on-one Democratic Senator Joe Manchin saying he absolutely would consider a presidential run in 2024, potentially taking on his party's leader, President Joe Biden. But would he even run as a Democrat? Disaster in paradise, at least one American tourist dying in the Bahamas after a ferry capsized. More than 100 people on board hanging on as the boat starts tipping, many putting on life vests, jumping off and swimming away. The questions into how the boat sank. A string of robberies right from delivery trucks, thieves ransacking an Amazon truck in Atlanta. In Memphis, dozens swarming a FedEx truck, running off with as much as they could carry. Drivers on edge before the holiday season. And kingpin hippos, Colombia taking on a different part of drug lord Pablo Escobar's legacy. His hippo collection, which now roams wild. The hefty price tag to keep the population from spreading. Top story starts right now. Tonight, the Israeli military inside the largest hospital in Gaza, the massive and controversial move uncovering new evidence that Israel says backs up the claims they've made all along, that there is a Hamas command center at the Al-Shifa hospital. The man we're about to show you, that's the IDF spokesperson, Jonathan Conricus. We've interviewed him here on Top Story throughout this war. He got inside the hospital and took cameras through what troops have found. Guns and ammunition stored nearby, MRI machines allegedly put there by Hamas, flak jackets, AK-47s, and grenades hidden with medical equipment. Closets packed with weapons of war. Hamas is rejecting the accusations, and a doctor at the hospital dismissing the claims. The IDF also releasing new video, a look from above military operations around the hospital. The UN aid chief appalled by these movements, saying, quote, hospitals are not battlefields. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling the operation a success and a step towards defeating Hamas, saying, quote, there is no place in Gaza that we cannot reach. Then there's this video of the siege on Al-Shifa showing what's happening as soldiers push deeper inside, smoke-filling hallways, doctors wheeling patients on stretchers, using flashlights to navigate the dark. The video released by the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza. NBC News has not been able to verify when exactly this video was taken or how it was taken. The controversial step to invade a hospital in a war zone, seen as a major military victory for Israel, is where we start tonight. NBC News chief international correspondent Keir Simmons has the story.
Just hours after Israel launched what it calls a targeted raid inside Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, the Israeli military releasing images, it says, shows Hamas terrorist weapons found there, including some AK-47s. While the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry releasing this video, smoke pouring into the hospital's intensive care unit, doctors pushing patients to safety. NBC News is unable to independently confirm either video. But an Israeli spokesperson saying they found proof of Israeli and U.S. assertions that Hamas has been operating in hospitals, including hiding weapons behind medical equipment.
There is an AK-47, there are cartridges, ammo, there are grenades in here, of course, uniform, and all of this was hidden very conveniently, secretly, behind the MRI machine.
Inside closets.
Hamas put them here because they use this place.
And behind explosive-proof doors.
Take a look at this door here. Blast-proof door, which is part of the clinic.
So far, it's not clear whether there are tunnels or a command center at the hospital. Hamas rejecting the allegations and a hospital doctor dismissing them tonight in a phone call.
They've released a video
saying that they've found weapons.
That's usually the silly.
The doctor describing the Israeli raid as frightening.
They started very aggressive bombing and, gunshots all over the place around the hospital.
Tonight, he says, they still need help for the 36 premature babies without working incubators, while Israel says it's provided incubators and baby food. The White House said they did not want to see a firefight in a hospital. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu saying there's no place in Gaza we will not reach to target Hamas. Israel is far from finished in Gaza. Today, our camera crew filmed the aftermath of another airstrike in the south, while in the north, officials reported more bodies pulled from the rubble. Meanwhile, an alarming warning in the US. The FBI director says, following the Hamas terror attacks, the threat of an attack on Americans in the US is at a, quote, whole other level.
We've seen a rogues gallery of foreign terrorist organizations call for attacks against Americans and our allies.
Scary warning there from the FBI director. Keir Simmons joins us live tonight from Tel Aviv. Keir, has Hamas explained why Israel would lie about this? If they're not telling the truth and went through the trouble of staging everything we saw in your story, what would the rationale be? What would Israel gain from it? It would seem surrounding a hospital would be the last thing a military would want to do when it's trying to hunt terrorists and free hostages.
It's a good question, Tom. I guess in some ways you could argue that it comes down to language. And, so many things in this part of the world come down to language. So just before the raid, we heard the Pentagon, for example, talk about a Hamas Islamic Jihad command and control center at the hospital. What's a command and control center? What does that look like? What does it look like if it's Hamas? Those pictures, I'll let viewers judge for themselves whether that looks like a command and control center. Certainly, they suggested that there is a blast door, something you wouldn't expect in a hospital. There's also been talk, Tom, about the potential that there was something underneath the hospital. We've seen the Israeli Defense Forces show us what they say are tunnels underneath a different hospital. I suspect tonight and tomorrow they'll be looking again for that. But certainly, your question is right. The Israelis believe that what is there is a Hamas key position, and they are looking for it and looking for the evidence of it. And I think a lot of what was going on here was their determination to prove that they were right.
And then, Keir, finally, are there any new developments? I know we ask this to you almost every night, but any new developments on the hostage situation?
Yeah. And it's an important question tonight, Tom, because Prime Minister Netanyahu's wife has written to First Lady Jill Biden, and in that letter she says that there is a pregnant hostage who has very likely now given birth in captivity. She says in the letter, imagine what's going through that young mother's mind. Tom?
You can't. Okay. Keir Simmons with some new reporting there for us. Keir, we appreciate that. Now for a rare look inside Gaza as hundreds of thousands of Palestinians flee devastation and destruction in the north. Israel providing passage for people to escape danger. But many Palestinians are still wondering, will they be able to return to their homes? Ralph Sanchez is inside the city as desperation grows.
Under the watchful eyes of Israeli troops, an exodus of Palestinians from Gaza City is underway. Children with their hands up, their parents clutching ID cards, the white flag flying amid the destruction.
We've been covering this war for more than a month, but this is the first time that we are seeing with our own eyes Palestinian civilians inside of Gaza.
This is what Israel's military calls a humanitarian corridor, open a few hours each day for civilians to flee on foot and escape the fighting raging in Gaza City. 250,000 Palestinians have taken this route so far, Israel says. As a condition of access, NBC News agreed to blur some faces and submit our raw footage to Israel's military censors, though not our final story.
I think every Jew and Israeli can be proud of the fact that we're letting innocent civilians out of the fighting area, out of the fighting zone, to clear it out.
For Israel, this is proof their war is only against Hamas, not the people of Gaza.
But for many Palestinians, this feels like forced displacement.
We ask Israel's military.
Can you guarantee that these people will be able to return home one day?
I think that is really going to be in the hands of a lot of different players. One of the main ones is going to be Hamas.
Soldiers call out in Hebrew in case Hamas is smuggling hostages in the crowd.
So they're asking the children, put your arms up, we'll come and save you, don't worry.
So far, no sign of the hostages. Israel believes they're hidden in Hamas's vast network of tunnels, like this shaft in a rural area near the border.
We know that if you were to go through this and map out what this leads to, you would reach our hostages.
They found nothing in this tunnel. Now they're lowering explosives. Moments later, Israel searching for hostages held in darkness. Palestinians heading into an exile of dust and despair. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Gaza City.
Now to the next major story we're following tonight. Back here at home in the high-stakes meeting between President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in San Francisco. The meeting breaking a year of long silence between the two leaders amid rising tensions. NBC's chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander is traveling with the president and has the latest.
Tonight, President Biden and China's President Xi face to face. This greeting kicking off their first in-person visit in a year. An effort to restore one of the world's most consequential relationships, now at its lowest point in decades.
It's paramount that you and I understand each other clearly, leader to leader, with no misconceptions or miscommunication. We have to ensure that competition does not veer into conflict.
President Xi appearing to acknowledge that tensions have escalated, saying the U.S.-China relationship has never been smooth sailing, but has always moved forward. Planet Earth is big enough for the two countries to succeed, President Xi said, adding as long as they respect each other, they'll be fully capable of rising above their differences. Still, those differences run deep. Tonight, White House advisors tell us they're looking to restart direct military-to-military talks that collapsed following the U.S. shooting down that Chinese spy balloon. Among other tension points, China's close ties with Russia and Iran, the threat of aggression toward Taiwan, and China's theft of technology and hacking, as FBI Director Christopher Wray warned about again today.
China alone has the biggest hacking program in the world by far. They're not slowing down.
One expected takeaway, both sides agreeing to a joint working group to combat the illegal flow of fentanyl from China into the U.S. Still, many Republicans say President Biden is not being tough enough with China.
I think it represents, guys, a fundamental misunderstanding of this relationship by Joe Biden. We are in a great power struggle. They're hell-bent on world domination.
NBC's chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins Top Story now. Peter, there were very high expectations for this meeting. How much of this was just symbolic, and how much of this was actually work getting done, deals being cut?
Yeah, Tom, it's a really good question. Biden administration officials repeatedly coming into this sit-down summit have really tried to lower expectations of any major breakthroughs. They say just the fact that these two leaders are sitting down face-to-face at this venue is progress in and of itself. For President Xi, there's also a lot at stake here in terms of domestic pressures, economic challenges at home with a housing crisis in China, youth unemployment above 20% right now. He's going to be attending a glitzy $2,000 a plate dinner tonight with some American CEOs, an effort to try to lure back American businesses to Beijing.
All right, Peter, thank you for that. Now to power and politics and the major development coming out of NBC News' interview with West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. He recently announced he's not running for re-election in the Senate and now tells our Kristen Welker he is absolutely considering a run for the White House.
Let's talk about your future, because obviously you are facing a big decision. Can you take us inside your thinking right now? Are you seriously contemplating a run for the White House?
Here's what I'm seriously contemplating. And I've said this very clearly, but people always want to say, well, are you going to run? I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure and mobilize that moderate, sensible, common sense middle. That could be a center left, center right. So it could be a person who is involved in the grand old party forever. But they basically say, well, you know, my Democrat friends over here, the old blue dog Democrats, the middle's gone. There's not many of us centrists left. And if I can reinvigorate that, and I said, I will do everything that I possibly can. I'm totally, absolutely scared to death that Donald Trump would become president again. I think we will lose democracy as we know it. And my reason for saying that, you can't normalize this visceral hatred calling people names and attacking people. You can't basically think the only fair election is the one you win, and the only laws pertain to everybody but you. That's not the country we are. That's not how we became the country. And I'm afraid that Joe Biden's been pushed too far to the left. Can he come back? We'll see. But the bottom line is that's not the Joe Biden that we thought was being elected, to go that far left.
I want to delve into all of that with you about former President Trump and President Biden. Before we get to them, I do just want to stick with what your thinking is right now. Just to clarify, just to put a fine point. I know you haven't made any decisions, but are you considering running for president?
I will do anything I can to help my country.
Is that a yes?
And you're saying, does that mean you would consider it? Absolutely. Every American should consider. If they're in a position to help save the country, I think we're on the wrong course. So I will do everything possible. Now, there's a lot of good people out there I hope I can motivate, and a lot of capable people, competent, that they've just given up. I said, don't give up. This is the best country in the world, and we have so much to be thankful for.
All right, I want to bring in NBC White House correspondent Mike Memoli, who joins us tonight from Concord, New Hampshire, where there was news about the state's primary. We'll get to that in a moment. Mike, starting with Kristen's interview with Senator Manchin, what would it do to the race if he decided to enter the fray?
Well, Tom, it seems that this 2024 campaign has already had its share of surprises, of ups and downs, and we're not even in 2024 yet. We haven't even gotten to the voting. But there's no doubt that there could not be a more seismic development to this race than if Joe Manchin were to enter this race as an independent candidate. Now, you heard him lay out his argument for what the middle has to offer in terms of a presidential candidacy. There's no doubt he would take votes from potentially Donald Trump, from Joe Biden. But the fear, especially in the Biden camp, is that he would much more likely, as somebody who's been a Democrat his whole life, draw votes away from Joe Biden and potentially make it easier for Donald Trump to return to the White House. Now, I've been talking to people close to President Biden. They say, listen, they're confident that ultimately Joe Manchin, just like he's been a thorn in their side sometimes on legislation, but been there when he needed to be there, is not going to run. But frankly, they don't know. The biggest question, Tom, is would Joe Manchin, if he runs as an independent candidate, be able to get on the ballot in all 50 states? That's a very open question and certainly key to whether or not it could deprive Joe Biden of the White House.
And something not easy to do. But one of the main criticisms of the current president, something he's faced a lot, of course, is his age. But it's not like Senator Joe Manchin would be a fresh face or is a spring chicken at 76. He's just a year younger than former President Donald Trump.
And, Tom, President Biden's age is going to be in the spotlight again. On Monday, he turns 81. Every day, he breaks his own record as the oldest president in American history. It may just be a 5-year difference in age, but a lot of people think it looks even bigger than that. Really, though, what Joe Manchin has to offer is we know him in Washington. Those who follow politics closely are very familiar with Joe Manchin, but he would enter this race as a relative fresh face with a fresh message, especially to those who very many in every poll we do say they don't like either of the choices they have before him. And so that gives him an opportunity to introduce himself to the country on his own terms.
Mike, I know you're in New Hampshire there. I want to switch over to the big news out of there. The New Hampshire primary officials announcing it will be on January 23rd, defying President Biden's order to have South Carolina go first. What does this mean for the primary season, and could this hurt President Biden?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in New Hampshire every 4 years. There's always a little bit of intrigue. Will New Hampshire keep its role as the first primary in the country? Well, this time, as Secretary of State Dave Scanlon made the announcement that New Hampshire would indeed be first again, it was even more pointed in terms of the language he used, sending a message to the National Democratic Party that he thinks voters should have the final say over who a nominee is and not the elites, as he put it, in Washington. This has created something of a divide for Democrats here in New Hampshire. There is Dean Phillips, a Minnesota congressman, running against Joe Biden in the primary here. Do they support him because they don't like that Joe Biden has taken the first in the nation primary away from them? Do they, as many people are trying to organize an effort here for a write-in candidacy for Joe Biden? That's a potential option for them. But Biden could not potentially win this primary being not on the ballot, and it could be further undermining his case for strength in the general election.
But, Mike, before you go, could voters not write him in? Could he still potentially win, or is that not possible?
To run a successful write-in campaign requires a lot of money, and there's a grassroots effort here to make that happen. Unclear if it'll be successful, but consider this, Tom. Lyndon Johnson in 1968 was a write-in candidate. He got 50% of the vote. He beat the field. But Eugene McCarthy, a senator from Minnesota, little known, got 41%. That was a surprisingly high number. And 3 weeks after the New Hampshire primary, Lyndon Johnson announced he was not going to run for a second term.
Yep. I don't remember it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. McCarthy went on to get the nomination.
Well.
All right. Mike Memley, thanks so much for that. We appreciate it. We have new developments tonight in the Rush shooting. One day before a grand jury in New Mexico convenes to reconsider involuntary manslaughter charges against actor Alec Baldwin, NBC News has obtained exclusive new video of Baldwin firing a prop gun days before he was using before he fired a live one, killing the film cinematographer. Chloe Malas has the latest.
Tonight, never-before-seen footage from the set of Rust, taken in the days before the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins.
Now, wait a second. If I'm going to shoot right, you want to go on the other side of the camera? I don't want to shoot toward you.
The clips obtained exclusively by NBC News show the actor preparing for scenes, firing weapons, and interacting with crew members.
I don't know why you're going up hills and all this other. You're going to break your neck.
According to a source familiar with the matter, these videos are among dozens provided to special prosecutors days before they announced plans to recharge Baldwin with involuntary manslaughter. NBC News has not seen the rest of the videos.
Everyone doesn't need to be right here, like in the path of the gun. Could you please move?
The inside look, just a portion of the evidence that could be presented before a New Mexico grand jury starting tomorrow. Tonight, Baldwin's legal team and the prosecution declining to comment on the videos.
I was the one holding the gun, yeah.
Since the incident, Baldwin has repeatedly denied pulling the trigger in the fatal shooting. The movie's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence charges. Her trial is set to begin in February.
The gun was supposed to be empty. I was told I was handed an empty gun.
Tonight, with the possibility of new charges on the line, Alec Baldwin's legal troubles taking center stage as prosecutors bring the deadly incident back into the spotlight. Chloe Malas, NBC News, New York.
We also have breaking news in the federal investigation into the campaign of New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Sources have confirmed to NBC News that the director of protocol for international affairs, Rana Abasova, is the staffer who was put on leave as part of the probe. Last week, the FBI seized Adams' electronics as part of an investigation into his 2021 campaign, colluding with the Turkish government and others for funding. Shortly after the mayor's office confirmed they found one of its, quote, staffers had acted improperly. It's unclear what Abasova alleged behavior was, but she has not responded to our request for comment. Okay, we're also watching dangerous weather in the South. 7 million people in Florida under alert as the state braces for more severe flooding. Video shows cars struggling through floodwaters, some drivers stranded, emergency crews freeing cars from trees down by strong winds. Heavy rains over the last 24 hours have brought Fort Lauderdale's 2023 rainfall total to more than 100 inches, but the rain is not done yet. Let's get right over to NBC meteorologist Bill Karen. So, Bill, how bad could it get down there in South Florida?
It's already pretty nasty in the upper Keys, Monroe County, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. Most of the heavy rain has avoided your areas so far and stayed to your south. This is all the east coast of Florida's problems, and it just figures, right? The west coast of Florida is in an extreme drought. They'd love some rain, but the east coast is just getting soaked. So the area of greatest concern is going to be just about halfway between West Palm and Fort Lauderdale southwards. This area of marooning here, still through this evening, what we call a moderate risk of flash flooding. It means a pretty good chance that we're going to see that. The heaviest rains are showed by the bright reds, and you see the lightning strikes in the Florida Straits. The Keys have been getting nailed. Marathon has picked up 5 inches of rain in just 3 hours. Now some of that heavy rain is shifting northward. You look at the bright reds. So anyone traveling in and around Miami, Tom, in about the next 3 to 4 hours, this is when you'll expect the worst of it on the roads.
And where is the system headed next?
Yeah, this will eventually become a big, powerful coastal storm, and that gets everyone's attention. So as we go throughout the day tomorrow, South Florida, you'll clear out quickly. You'll be all done with this. Central Florida gets a little bit of rain. The storm does head northwards, but thankfully this cold front is going to kick it just far enough off the coast. We're only going to see a little bit of rain here on Friday in the Outer Banks. It looks like from Long Island out towards Cape Cod and up into Maine, Saturday's a nasty day for you, but a bulk of the storm does miss the I-95 corridor. So it looks like everyone will have a decent weekend, except for our friends in eastern New England.
All right, Bill, we thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, the mother of the 6-year-old who shot his teacher in Virginia just sentenced. The mother convicted of using marijuana while owning a gun. How much time she'll spend behind bars. Plus, disaster in paradise. Dramatic videos capturing the moment a boat full of tourists began sinking in the Bahamas. Passengers forced to jump overboard, at least one person killed. And a troubling new trend, flash mobs overwhelming delivery drivers, stealing packages right off their trucks. Stay with us. Top story. Just getting started on this Wednesday night. We're back now with some terrifying moments for tourists in the Bahamas. A ferry boat sinking with nearly 100 people on board. Families forced to jump into the water with life jackets to survive. A 74-year-old woman killed. Morgan Chesky has the latest.
A vacation nightmare in the Bahamas. New video showing a tourist ferry boat on its side and sinking, taking on water by the second after being battered by rough seas.
Our boat is sinking.
Kelly Shishel capturing the frightening play-by-play on her phone. From her view on the boat's upper deck, she watched the ferry's slow descent into what had been beautiful blue waters.
I'm on the top floor of a ferry.
Frightened passengers seen huddling together, confused and terrified as the boat slipped farther underwater.
One of the crew members that was downstairs ran upstairs and was crying, freaking out, absolutely bawling, grabbing a life jacket. And then that's when everybody's like, oh, this is real, something's happening.
Authorities say the double-decker catamaran was taking close to 100 tourists to Blue Lagoon Island Tuesday, just a few miles north of the Bahamian capital of Nassau. The first distress call coming around 11 a.m.
We were kind of waiting for the staff to tell us what to do, which they never did because they were too busy crying and freaking out.
New video from another passenger, Sarah Grady, shared first to Top Story, showing first responders on a nearby boat trying to render aid. Her mother injured as the boat sank. Some passengers didn't wait, jumping into the water until rescue boats could arrive. Authorities say a 74-year-old Colorado woman was pulled from the water unresponsive and later pronounced dead. In a statement, Blue Lagoon Island saying in part, the incident occurred as the boat was approaching and near to the island. Adding passengers and 5 staff members were located and brought to the island, and 2 passengers were taken to the hospital for additional care. All on board are accounted for. Tonight, authorities investigating the circumstances behind the fatal incident that turned an island getaway into a fight for survival.
Morgan Chesky joins us now live from Dallas. Morgan, pretty scary video there. The strange thing is that it was a completely clear day. The water looks a little choppy, but you don't see a lot of white caps. So my question is, do we know what happened? What went wrong?
Yeah, Tom, that is still being investigated tonight. And in fact, other passengers we heard from took note of those very same conditions, acknowledging the blue sky and sunshine, but saying that during their trip from one island to the other, the seas were exceptionally choppy. Now, we did reach out to that tour boat company tonight. They have not responded to any comment or making any statement at this point in time. And the police say this remains very much an active investigation. Tom?
All right, Morgan Chesky tonight on Top Story. Morgan, great to see you again. Next tonight, to an alarming new trend across the country, delivery trucks ambushed by large groups that overwhelm drivers and run off with precious packages. Some workers now fearing for their safety. NBC's Maura Barrett reports.
Tonight, delivery drivers on edge after a string of robberies across the country caught on camera. In Memphis, dozens of people surrounding this FedEx truck as it was stopped in traffic, breaking the back latch before ransacking the inside and running away with as many boxes as they could hold. Even after the driver starts to pull away, thieves run after the truck, jump on it, and take more boxes.
In traffic, though, folks.
In Atlanta, an Amazon worker returning from a delivery finds several suspects sprinting up to the truck, stealing packages at random from the back. These groups overwhelming drivers in a similar tactic used by flash mobs at retail stores in cities like Los Angeles and Philadelphia.
Well, this is like my first time someone's actively jumping on a vehicle on the street.
Lifelong resident Cassius McGowan hosts a Memphis-based podcast. He says while looting at stores and on trains isn't uncommon in the area, a robbery like this is unique.
How the person who was actually working feeling in that situation, being like, how is this person going to continue to work and feel like safe? And you know this may happen again. The person be traumatized. That's PTSD.
Similar concerns for drivers in Washington, D.C. after an Amazon delivery driver was carjacked at gunpoint. The van left smashed and the wheels stolen, with that suspect still on the loose.
We need these guys. They deliver our stuff and all that, man. So, you know, this got to stop. It's getting ridiculous. They have a job to do.
These shocking robberies ahead of what's expected to be a busy holiday shipping season. ShipMatrix estimates that 82 million parcels a day will be out for delivery. Both FedEx and Amazon telling NBC News in statements that the safety of their drivers is a top priority. Amazon says employees receive de-escalation and safety training, and that drivers should never make a delivery if they feel unsafe. The company, writing in part about the Atlanta robbery, "We're glad the driver in this video is okay. Thankfully, incidents like this are rare across our network. Nonetheless, even a single incident like this is one too many."
All right, Maura Barrett joins us now live. Maura, we heard there was no suspect arrested in D.C. What about the Memphis or Atlanta incidents? And again, all this video, it's unbelievable what's happening out there to these poor delivery drivers.
Exactly, and clearly a handful of suspects are involved, as we saw in those videos, and somehow there is nobody in custody yet in either one of those cities. I spoke to both police departments. They both told me that in Atlanta and in Memphis, these are ongoing investigations. Meanwhile, the Memphis mayor is actually calling out the court system, saying that it, quote, needs fundamental change to adjust what's going on out in the community. He noted that even when arrests do happen, the courts aren't punishing suspects in ways that could prevent them from doing it again, which is a very similar situation as what we saw in those smash and grab cases, Tom.
All right, Maura, thank you for that report. Crazy. When we come back, the latest on the alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer. A New York grand jury now weighing charges connected to a fourth murder. How soon they're expected to make a decision. And also in New York, the FBI using an excavator to dig for bodies in a wooded area. The notorious mafia family at the center of this investigation. That's next. We're back now with Top Stories newsfeed, and we begin with an update in the Gilgo Beach serial killer investigation. At a status hearing for suspect Rex Heuermann today, the Suffolk County District Attorney announced a grand jury is looking into possible charges for a fourth murder, adding the grand jury is expected to complete its work, quote, shortly. Heuermann's wife, who filed for divorce shortly after his arrest, also attended a hearing for the first time. Heuermann has denied all allegations. An update tonight in the case of a Virginia teacher shot by a 6-year-old student. The child's mother, Deja Taylor, has been sentenced to 21 months in prison for using marijuana while owning a firearm. Taylor's son used her handgun to shoot his first-grade teacher in Newport News. Police later found nearly an ounce of marijuana in her bedroom, along with drug paraphernalia. The 26-year-old still faces a separate sentencing on felony child neglect. Late today, the FBI was searching for potential mafia victims. Aerial footage shows an excavator being used to dig through a wooded area in Goshen, New York, about 65 miles north of Manhattan. Authorities tell NBC New York federal agents are looking for bodies in connection to an ongoing investigation into the Gambino crime family. Last week, at least 10 alleged Gambino associates were arrested and charged with a slew of crimes, including racketeering and extortion. Okay, now to the Americas, and we head to Peru, where a new port is set to transform their Pacific coast. But the $3.6 billion project has largely been funded by China, providing them with an economic foothold in the region. It's prompting renewed national security concerns in the U.S. as President Biden and President Xi met today, attempting to navigate through the strained relationship. NBC's chief international correspondent Keir Simmons is back with this one.
Tonight, thousands of miles from its own borders, China's presence in the Pacific is expanding and getting closer to the U.S. China's COSCO Shipping is building its first deep-water megaport in South America, an economic beachhead for Beijing in America's backyard. Does it make you proud that this is happening in Peru?
Yes, absolutely. It's a port that will change a lot of lives in Peru.
Chinese companies may soon own Lima's entire electricity grid, as well as 5 mines. Do you think America failed to see the opportunities here?
I think there are many opportunities now for everyone to try to make business in Peru.
We were given extensive access to this massive new site. The signs in Spanish and Mandarin. $3.6 billion of investment next to a fishing village called Chancay. 60% owned by COSCO Shipping, a company backed by the Chinese state. The deputy general manager telling me the port will become a major trading hub, boosting the region's international exports. These docks will handle the world's biggest cargo ships. 1 million containers a year, they say, growing to 5 million in time. And a new route across the ocean, connecting South America and Asia, from Chancay to Shanghai. Reshaping Pacific trade. It currently takes up to 35 days to ship goods from Peru to Asia, stopping at Mexico or Long Beach, California. Ships from Shanghai will be large enough to sail directly, cutting the time it takes by 10 days or more. China has overtaken the US as Peru's biggest trading partner. In Shanghai, China simply made the best offer, they say.
We need this investment.
Whether it comes from China or
wherever. It comes according to the interest of Peru and the people of Peru.
Not every Peruvian is benefiting. For months, thousands who live near the port have faced this.
Explosions, for the mountain coming is near my house.
Explosions flattening the terrain have caused many houses to crack. Marian Grace Arche can see the construction site from her artist studio in her family home. Dust is everywhere.
It's hard to have a conversation because it's so noisy.
It's not the only hurdle the project has faced.
So this is the tunnel.
That will be the main connection between the entrance complex and the terminals themselves. And the idea is to have the less impact to the city.
The construction of the more than a mile-long tunnel for port access led to the partial collapse of a street last year. Local community leaders tell us they fear their homes are no longer safe. Around the world, like here in Athens, Costco's shipping operates in 144 countries. But unlike the US, China only has one overseas military base, in Djibouti, where we visited in 2021.
It's a kind of Chinese fort.
Back in Peru, officials say they're not married to China, but are developing a good relationship. Some in the US worry where that relationship will go.
Could we one day see a ship from the People's Liberation Navy dock in this port?
Well, this port is orientated to commercial activities.
Not everyone here is so confident.
I'm worried about the conflicts could be in the USA and China. So we are in the middle of this conflict.
Keir Simmons, NBC News.
Coming up, big animals causing a big problem in Colombia. Hippos that are descendants of pets once owned by Pablo Escobar, now roaming towns in Colombia, getting dangerously close to residents and tourists and harming the natural habitat. The new plan to stop them from populating that could cost the country millions. That's next. Back now with Top Stories Global Watch and the deadly bus crash in northern India. A bus carrying more than 50 passengers plunged off a Himalayan highway before falling more than 600 feet and landing onto another road. At least 37 people killed and 18 others hurt. Police say the bus was overcrowded and speeding, but the exact cause of the crash is still under investigation. A terrifying midair scare caught on camera in the skies over Brazil. Video posted to social media shows sparks and flames shooting out of a plane engine, reportedly on a LATAM Airlines flight. The airline confirming to NBC News a flight from Brazil to Chile was forced to make an emergency landing due to an issue with the engine. The airline says they are investigating if a bird strike was a cause. Luckily, no one was hurt. And an update tonight on the volcano emergency in Iceland. Here's what we know. Iceland's meteorological office says about 800 earthquakes were measured today alone. 800. And there's still a, quote, significant likelihood of a volcanic eruption in the coming days. As we've reported, towns have been evacuated and the popular Blue Lagoon closed due to the constant seismic activity. Okay, we head to Colombia now in a new plan to tackle the country's so-called cocaine hippos. Infamous drug kingpin Pablo Escobar famously brought the mammals from Africa to his Colombian compound. But once he was killed, the hippos were set free. Since they're not native to South America, they've been causing problems for decades. Valerie Castro has details on how the country is now trying to get the population under control.
For decades, these lumbering giants have called the country of Colombia home and have become their own tourist attraction.
These hippos don't bother anybody. And this is just a really nice place, and everybody lives together in harmony.
But the third largest land mammal is a long way from its original home. The so-called cocaine hippos were brought over from Africa by infamous drug lord Pablo Escobar in the 1980s to live on his private estate.
Pablo Escobar had his own zoo down there. And when he was killed, I think it was in 1993, they were able to move some of those animals out. But because the hippos were so large, it was too expensive to get them out of there. they just kind of let them loose. They ran free.
Since then, the population has multiplied. The government now estimates there are about 170 hippos in Colombia, descendants of those first animals illegally brought there by Escobar. Hypothetically speaking, if left to their own accord, they could top 1,000 animals within 15 years, according to the government.
Their population continues to grow exponentially, and so it's much easier to control them when there are hundreds of them than when there are thousands of them.
The potentially dangerous animals have been seen roaming local towns, some residents even feeding the hungry hippos.
And those are animals that are kind of reasonably well habituated to people.
But in 2022, they were declared an invasive species, dangerous to water quality, local ecosystems, and other wildlife. A previous attempt to reduce the population by killing them with help from local hunters was met with controversy from animal rights groups.
This has become a really incredibly contentious issue in Colombia.
After years of debate and discussion, the Environmental Ministry has now begun a new plan. They have surgically sterilized 2 male hippos and 1 female, with plans to sterilize about 40 a year. But the solution is not a cheap one. The ministry says each surgery costs about $10,000, and that's if they're able to catch the hippos safely.
This is certainly a plan worth trying. And, you will know whether it worked or not by how many baby hippos you see.
The country has also proposed transferring some of them to other countries.
No podríamos controlar la población solamente con el tema de la esterilización.
But that could cost upwards of millions of dollars. More than 30 years later, Colombia is still footing the bill from Escobar's notorious narcos era. Valerie Castro, NBC News.
When we come back, Sin City transformed into a racetrack. Formula One now taking over Las Vegas, including racing on a portion of the iconic strip. Just how much is being shelled out for the event and why some residents and even businesses are not happy. Welcome back. This weekend, Formula One is going all in on Las Vegas. The race will be on a brand new street track that will include a stretch down the iconic Las Vegas Strip. Formula One has invested in this race more than in any of the other 23 races on the year's calendar. As part of a new documentary on the business of F1, CNBC's Sarah Eisen examines why the sport is taking a big gamble in Vegas.
And that final racing layer is what we're actually pouring right now. It's a really, really dense asphalt that makes sure that when the drivers are going around the corners, the turns, the asphalt doesn't ripple.
Is it the same track in all the F1 races?
It's specially designed for Las Vegas. Our 3.8 miles of track is actually public right-of-way. So vehicles drive on it. You and I can drive on the track after it's built.
There's a lot riding on this. Unlike every other race, F1 and Liberty Media are the sole promoters putting on the race here. No middleman. It's requiring a pretty significant investment on your part, north of $500 million, right?
Way north of $500 million, and more than any other promoter will have spent by far.
What does it cost?
We'll be in it for $600 million at least.
And with that, CNBC's Sarah Eisen joins us tonight from Las Vegas. Sarah, I want to start with that number we just heard. This is a $600 million investment by Liberty Media, the owner of Formula One. Talk us through the bet that they're making here.
Tom, they're making the bet that F1 has an even bigger, bolder future in the United States. And that's what Vegas is all about. Liberty Media bought Formula One about 6 years ago. Before that, it was kind of a sleepy motorsport for the purists. It was beloved in Europe and South America. It wasn't really on the map here in the U.S. They've changed that, Liberty has, through marketing, through rethinking the social media strategy. Drivers used to not be allowed on social media. Now Lewis Hamilton has 3 times the followers as Tom Brady. And with these new races, Drive to Survive on Netflix, also a key part of that strategy. Here in Vegas, they had to acquire the land for the paddock building, which is the permanent structure they have here right on top of the starting grid that houses the garages and the highest paying ticket holders. And you can that's an example of how this city is being completely transformed by this race. I'm here at the Bellagio where they built an entire grandstand on the iconic fountains here where they charge $12,000 a ticket. Now that's Bellagio, but Liberty for this Vegas race got MGM, which is the owner here, and the Wynn and Caesars all on board to really make this such a huge spectacle, which it appears to already be.
Yeah, Sarah, I think what you're trying to say is that
to win big, you got to spend big. And it's funny because I'm watching a report and I'm thinking about what happened in Miami with F1. They spent all this money. They brought all these celebrities. They charged these crazy prices. And everyone was talking about it. It was all over social media. And it feels like F1's having a moment right now in America.
Absolutely. They're having a moment in America. And that is what it's all about. It's also a showcase of the fact, Tom, that it's not just about the race and the sport. Yes, that's the core of it. But what Liberty is trying to emphasize here, first in Miami and here in Vegas also, is it's about hospitality and everything that goes along with it, the experiences for the VIPs. They have a practice, a qualifying, and a race night. They're doing it at night, by the way, which also makes it a little bit unique. And then they have all sorts of experiences like hot laps, which VIPs can take a car, a professional driver, take them around the track at a very high speed, or these track tours where you can go in a truck and get a tour of the truck. It's about getting people interested in everything around F1. And I got a chance to do some of that for this documentary, and I'm excited for you to see.
Oh, yeah, we look forward to that. And, Sarah, before you go, I know you've probably been hitting the blackjack tables, but when you're not, are people wearing sort of the F1 gear around Vegas? Do you feel that people are excited about this there?
It's just starting. There is a Red Bull car in the middle of the Wynn Casino. I saw that. So definitely Vegas is being transformed. And I've been at a number of these races now, and you will see fans in all of the, I mean, the top teams really have the most fans. That's Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull and McLaren. But I can tell you it's fun to see the enthusiasm growing in the United States, for sure, as you see more American fans in what has really become a big global growing sport.
CNBC's Sarah Eisen, we thank you so much for joining Top Story. Have so much fun this weekend. For more on this, check out Inside Track, the business of Formula One. It'll premiere tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on CNBC. And we thank you for watching Top Story tonight. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.